Title: Don't Worry, I'll Drain Him Dry, she told her mother. The next morning, she handed me divorce papers, until her lawyer said, "Actually, you might want to sit down." Start. Her words still ring in my head like poison whispered through glass. Don't worry, I'll drain him dry. She said it to her mother when she thought I couldn't hear. I was standing in the hallway, one hand frozen on the doorframe, the other clutching a coffee I suddenly had no taste for. The next morning, she shoved divorce papers across the table with the smug grin of a woman who believed she had already won. And I smiled back, because she didn't know what I knew. We had been married for 8 years. 8 years of dinners, anniversaries, long nights planning futures and raising glasses to dreams. I thought I had found a partner, someone who looked at me and saw more than a paycheck. I was wrong. The cracks came slow. The late-night phone calls, the girls' weekends that stretched too long. Her mother's constant, calculated intrusions into our lives, small criticisms about how I wasn't providing enough, subtle suggestions that she deserved more. I told myself it was meddling. I told myself love was stronger. But love is blind until betrayal cuts the eyes open. The truth slipped from her lips in a hissed phone call I wasn't meant to hear. Don't worry, I'll drain him dry, Mom. Every cent. Then I'll start fresh. I stood outside her office door, listening as she laughed. Not a nervous laugh, a greedy one. And in that moment, something inside me changed. I didn't feel rage, not at first. I felt cold. Cold like steel. I realized my marriage wasn't a partnership, it was a performance, and the curtain had just dropped. I didn't confront her, not then, not ever. Confrontation gives away power. Instead, I planned. I met with lawyers, quietly, discreetly. I had conversations she would never hear. I learned the laws she thought she understood. She wanted to bleed me dry? Fine. But every predator forgets one thing: hunters exist too. I documented everything: the late withdrawals she made from our joint account, the business trips that ended in hotel bills, the whispered conversations with her mother about moving money. My attorney called it a goldmine of evidence. I called it insurance. While she rehearsed her betrayal, I rehearsed her downfall. The morning she handed me divorce papers, she was radiant, almost glowing with triumph. She slid them across the kitchen table as if she were placing a knife at my throat. I glanced at the papers, then at her. I signed nothing. Instead, I told her calmly, "We'll let the lawyers handle it." She smirked. She thought I was broken. A week later, we sat in a polished office, her mother perched smugly beside her. Her lawyer, an oily man with too much confidence, spread the papers across the table. But then my lawyer slid a thicker stack forward. Evidence, accounts, hidden transfers, records of infidelity. Her lawyer's smile faltered. He read, he frowned, then he leaned close to her and whispered, "Actually, you might want to sit down." The color drained from her face as line after line stripped her illusions bare. Not only would she not be taking everything, I would be walking away with more than she expected. The house, the majority of assets, custody of what truly mattered. Her mother's smug grin cracked, and then, like glass shattering, the daughter turned on the mother. "You told me this would work," she screamed. Her voice broke, raw with betrayal. "What have you done?" Her mother stammered. Her lawyer stayed silent. I just sat back, watching the performance unravel. For once, I was the audience, and I savored every second. She left that office in tears, her mother trailing behind like a ghost of bad decisions. I walked out, calm, free. People think revenge is fire. They imagine it burns hot and wild. But the truth? Real revenge is cold, precise. It doesn't flare, it cuts, and it cuts clean. She thought she could drain me dry. Instead, she drowned in her own greed. And me? I walked away untouched, my silence sharper than any scream. I never raised my voice. I never lost control. I simply let the truth speak louder than her lies. And in the end, justice didn't roar. It whispered.